Welcome to Dharma for Doctors, Spiritual Care for Caregivers. I'm your host, Chaplain Greg Holden. If you become ill or have to go to the hospital, a whole new team of professionals assembles to take care of you. Who are all these people? You know about doctors and nurses, but what about the other very important professionals who spend their labor and their time and their energy to heal you, to wash you, to make sure all your needs are met so your body can rejuvenate, hopefully. So I'm very pleased today to talk to one of those people. His name is Allan Guilpain. He is a native of Germany, and where he has worked in nursing homes and long-term care facilities. And he came to this country where he obtained a certificate to be a certified nursing assistant, CNA. CNAs are indispensable parts of the care team. And you know that when you're a patient, believe me, but maybe a little bit overlooked outside of being a patient. So I very much appreciate you telling me, Allan, about your work and how you got into it, because I really want people to know who are all the professionals that they meet. And CNAs need attention. They need our appreciation. So we appreciate you.
Absolutely do, yeah.
And full disclosure, Allan is a friend of ours, my wife and I, and we've known him for many years, and he's staying with us right now. And so glad that he took a few minutes out of his vacation to come to talk to us. Okay, so let's begin. You told me that you studied for at least a couple years to be a CNA. What was involved in becoming a CNA?
Well, for me, it was a bit difficult, a bit different than for other people. I have the luxury to have another profession, as you know. I'm an acupuncturist. And for me, the situation was this, that I had to go back to Germany because my mom was getting very old and I knew she was on the way to die. And I want to be in Germany when that happened, and indeed I was. So in Germany, since since I have my own business, I didn't have any clients, so I had to make some money, Mm-hmm. And I thought, to get a good grip on how to deal with people, with old people, take care of them, I might just work in a nursing home.
Yes.
So that's what I did as first near Frankfurt, my brother's living. I landed there, and after a couple of months, I moved back to my former home city, Hamburg. Lived there in an apartment in the same quarter as before, and I worked in a nursing home there. And that's where I got my first, my first contact with that profession. So I basically learned it hands-on, When I came back to the United States afterwards, I stayed in Germany between 1.5 and 2 years. I was going to the college in Michigan, and I did my degree as a CNA, so I could work in that profession again. And believe it or not, I did it because I liked it. Mm-hmm. I like the contact working with old people, what I have never done before. I was a social worker in my younger years when I was a student, a linguistic student at the University of Hamburg. I'm 60 now, so you can imagine it was like 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I worked mostly with young people, okay? So I didn't work with old people.
Yes.
So so I made my degree here. That didn't take actually a couple of years, in Germany it would take a couple of years to make that degree, 2 years, as far as I know. Here in the U.S., it's easier,
Oh,
So
okay.
you have I think that was 1-2 semesters, okay.
Okay.
And I have, because of my profession, a lot of background, so that was a bit easier for me. I knew the physical stuff, you know, the hands-on stuff, how to move a patient to the side, how to position a patient, you know. I knew that already, so it was a lot easier for me.
So you mentioned a little bit about what CNAs do. It is definitely hands-on work.
Absolutely.
You're turning patients, are washing them also?
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah.
And cleaning wounds? Is that?
No, cleaning wounds is mostly a thing when we are involved. We do that together with the nurse.
Okay.
Okay.
But you help.
So that is, absolutely. You will be plenty in contact with any kinds of body fluids. Believe me.
Okay. All right. And you mentioned your mother. Now I have to ask, what did this help you at all in caring for your mother?
Absolutely. It was, you know, like everybody, you know, I had a very personal relationship to my mother, you know. I have moved to the United States in 97, so in 2014, you can count, you know, how long I was here. I haven't seen my mom for a long time, but, you know, you catch up with the fact that she is getting older, and you have a little preparation how it is to you know, how old people feel about themselves. I think that's what people in a younger age have to realize when they go into that profession. That in fact, that's what I learned. Older people, even when they don't express it that seriously, they have that always on the table, that death is approaching. You know, and that is a very, I think it's a pretty tough piece to get along with. You know.
So it sounds like most of your adult life you've been working with younger people, and late in life you learn the joys of working with older people who have life experience, who realize maybe you're a little closer toward the end of the beginning of their life, and they have a lot to share, right?
As an acupuncturist, I was also in contact with old people. I think my oldest client was 96-year-old, and she was of Japanese origin, believe it or not. She's not alive anymore. She was a wonderful lady from Michigan, and so I was in contact with old people. And naturally, you know, I have to say, I feel drawn a bit to old people. They are interesting. It is interesting to live with that fact that you're getting older, that is approaching. And my God, I'm 62. You know, I'm also 60 years old now. I'm not the youngest anymore, and you begin to think about things.
That's right.
Like your life is changing after, you know.
Yeah.
After N57.
Yeah, for me, I also like working with older population, and for me, it's more about they have such an appreciation. They appreciate what you do. They have so much to communicate, so much wisdom about their lives. So
that's what I experienced, and that's what drew me to back in the United States to work in that profession again. You know. So I worked then for 25 hours a week, you know. The rest of the time I was running my acupuncture practice.
So what kinds of mental and spiritual challenges might a CNA face in that 25 hours? I think that could be very stressful.
It's like, you know, that naturally depends on what kind of institution you work. I want to cut that short, you know, but I had bad experiences, I have to say that, you know. But you know, when I worked at a nursing home in Hamburg, for example, it's you know, it's basically the challenge too. You overstep a physical limit, first of all. You know, I had most of my clients in the nursing home were female. They were women over 70. You know. And you go there in the morning, and you go in there and you help them to wash themselves, you know. And that is a very, you know, it's a very intimate approach, believe it or not, you know. Even when people like this often progressively get more, how do you call it in English? Not Alzheimer, but they get more
memory loss?
They have more and more memory loss usually. They are slower, but you have a full person in front of you, and you know how that is in your personal life. You know, you overstep, you go in an intimate space with people. That's one thing. What is real. What will hit me? The other thing is alone from the fact that in a nursing home, the other thing what I kept in mind was the smell of body fluids. Mm-hmm. You have that around. You have a lot of people. They have problems to go to the toilet. They have problems to hold the urine. You have that is present. Mm-hmm. Okay, and that alone is the thing. What you usually don't have life outside of a facility.
You don't encounter that, no.
Yeah,
Unless you're bringing up little babies. I remember that, but yes, I know
that's what the last thing I remember. That was when I was a student. I worked with kids, and for a while, for a half a year only in the kindergarten with babies, and you had to clean them, So,
is there some sort of preparation you can do, or to prepare for that kind of what you're going to encounter in a particular day? You never know what you're going to encounter, I suspect. Yeah. But then, is there something you could do to calm yourself?
Oh, I think. Sure, I think everybody has more or less good techniques, if you don't, you can learn them to calm down in a situation like this, Mm-hmm. It was, for example, I remember 2014 was for me a pretty difficult time, my mom got sick repeatedly, she had a car accident, so it was stressy. I was in northern Germany, my mom lived in southern Germany. And so to always get there and be present was a bit difficult, my private life situation too. So you have to be prepared to get there. And it is, I think we talked about that before, Greg. I think what is a very important thing is that you are in a reliable team. I think teamwork is number one, and that I can only tell everybody who has in mind to be a CNA, be a good team member. Work with other people together. Try to meet them. Try to work well together with the nurses. Because that makes your life easier. Yeah. It makes the life of the patients easier. It makes the life of everybody easier. Yeah. It's a very stressy job from time to time. Especially when you work more than like 25 hours or 30 hours, whatever. There were people, they worked 40 hours, they did overtime. They were, as I said, I was not entirely relying on that money.
Right.
The pay is slow.
That's right.
In Europe too. It still is.
Yeah.
And so that is when you have a good team, you have a good introduction, especially when you learn that hands-on.
Yes.
When I learned that in college, I naturally met people they have never worked in that environment. And you cannot imagine how much impact that sensual thing makes. What we talked about, the smell, where you are, that you get into real intimate spaces with your clients.
Yes.
So that is very much a thing. And another thing is we talking here about you are a chaplain.
Yes.
I know you are that since a long time, since you are my friend. I had real that thought it would be a great thing if part of a CNA program would be, first of all, having some praxis, a practicum, that's what we do here in the United States too, but having a chaplain and get a little a practical introduction about the whole philosophy around,
Yes.
There are people, they work in that profession. When I started, was already in my 50s, There are people starting in that profession. They are not even 20.
Yeah.
They are somewhere else. Those are young people. For them there is no end in sight. Or when you think at that age about your end, you have a problem. Okay. So
no, they're not thinking about that.
Yeah, I think it's appropriate to not think about that.
Would you have any advice? You mentioned your own mother, and it's especially difficult when you're caring for your parents. Parents are in a nursing home or maybe at home. And do you have any thoughts about how families can help you as a staff person or help their patient, their loved one to get through serious illness and end of life?
Or just be present, you know. Be present.